am thrilled to be here today to take you through our session on mastering the 7 C's of effective communication. But before we dive into the topic, let me quickly introduce myself to you. My name is Lakhitha. I'm a PMP certified project manager with over 12 years of experience in IT industry. I hail from India, but now I'm thriving within Malaysia's vibrant tech ecosystem. Over the years, I have had the privilege of leading and delivering complex projects across diverse sectors, including insurance, banking, foreign exchange, and pharma. Over the past 5 plus years, I have been associated with Billennium, and I'm continuously improving my project management skills, and I'm working on really impactful initiatives. One of my passion here is helping people not only to develop in their technical expertise, but also build their soft skills, something I feel is really crucial for your overall success. I'm also committed to ensuring projects not just completed effectively, but are enjoyable for everyone involved. Mentorship and supporting others in their career journey is something I deeply value. And today's session is really close to my heart because I believe communication is a key to successful project delivery as well as meaningful collaboration. So let's get started. And before we dive in, let's quickly take a look at today's agenda. We'll start with a brief introduction to set the stage for the session. Then we'll go into an overview of 7 C's of communication, giving you a high level understanding of the framework. After that, we'll do a deep dive into each of the 7 C's, breaking them down with examples and tips on how you can apply these principles in your communication. We'll also have an engaging session on real world application with some interactive discussions where you will see how these principles come to life in everyday scenarios, following by the final takeaways to ensure you leave this webinar with clear and actionable insights. Finally, we'll then have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of today's webinar. Please feel free to note down any questions or thoughts you have during the presentation, and we'll make sure to address all of them during the end of the session. And I encourage you to actively participate as it's a great opportunity to clarify anything and discuss how you can apply these communication techniques in your own scenarios. Okay, so let's jump in to the introduction session. And today's objective is to provide you with a structured framework that will help you become a more effective communicator. By the end of this session, you'll understand how to apply the 7 C's to enhance your interactions, whether they'll be with your colleagues, clients, even in your personal life. We'll explore practical techniques, real world examples to ensure that your messages are both impactful and understood as intended. Our goal is to help you craft communication that not only conveys your message clearly, but also fosters deep connections and leads to better outcomes. In today's fast paced world and interconnected world, effective communication is no longer just a soft skill. I think those days are gone. It's a critical success factor in both personal and professional areas, whether you're leading a team or managing stakeholders or just nurturing some relationships. The way you communicate can make or break outcomes. Studies show that poor communication is often cited as one of the main reasons for project failures, workplace conflicts, lost business opportunities, and in contrast, strong communications helps build trust, ensure alignment, and enhances productivity. The key reasons why effective communication is vital. Firstly, it enhances clarity and understanding. Clear communication helps avoid confusions and ensures everyone is on the same page. Secondly, it fosters collaboration. Its open and complete communication builds stronger relationships. It encourages collaboration across the teams. It improves decision making. It builds trust and credibility, and it reduces conflict. As we go through the session, keep these benefits in mind and think about how you can apply these 7 C's in your daily communication for a more successful and meaningful interactions. Coming to the overview of 7 C's of effective communication. These are the foundational principles that can help you craft messages that are clear, impactful, and well received no matter the context. Firstly, clear. What does this mean? Your message should be easy to understand. Avoid ambiguities and make sure your audience get the main idea. And the second C, being concise. Keep it brief and to the point. Eliminate unnecessary words. You have to maintain focus. Be concrete. Your communication should be solid and specific, offering clear facts and details to back up your message. Be correct. Ensure accuracy in your language, facts, and tone. Avoid miscommunication by double checking your information. There will be many scenarios where you just type an email with grammatical errors and just click send, and after sending it, you will regret it. Don't do such mistakes. Being coherent. Your message should flow logically with all the parts connected and consistent. Be complete. Make sure you provide all the information your audience needs, leaving no questions answered and no interpretations basically. Be courteous. Lastly, always communicate with respect and politeness, considering the feelings and viewpoints of others. Each of these C's plays a vital role in effective communication, and together they help you craft messages that resonate and create understanding. We'll explore each of these in more details shortly. And the next slide is the first C, which is clear. Clear communication. So, what does it mean? It means that ensuring your message is easily understandable by your audience. The goal is to remove any room for confusion and ambiguity. A clear message should avoid unnecessary complexity and be as straightforward as possible. Let's take an example. Instead of saying, "Can you send that thing by the end of the day?" It's really vague and it's open to interpretation. If I am at the receiver end of this message, I'll interpret as my wish. Correct? Instead of this, you should say, "Please send me the monthly sales report by 3 p.m. IST today." You see, this version is really specific, it's clear, and it leaves no doubt about what's needed, when, and by whom. When we communicate clearly, we not only make things easier for the receiver, but also reduce the risk of misinterpretation or delays. Throughout today's session, think about how you can apply clarity in your own messages. Okay, and the next slide is about concise communication. Getting your point across using as few words as possible without losing the core message. You know, you use a lot of words and the core message is lost. Being concise helps you keep your audience attention and ensure that your message is clear without overwhelming them with unnecessary details and filler words. It's about saying just enough to be understood while being direct and efficient. Let's consider an example. Instead of saying, "I was thinking that maybe we should try to organize the files in a different way because I'm not sure if everyone is finding them as easy as it could be." You know, it's it's not at all concise. The concise version of a message could be, "Let's organize the files so that they are easier to find." The version is much clearer, shorter, and still delivers the same essential message. By being concise, you show respect for your audience time and make it easier for them to quickly understood what's needed. Next, let's take a look at the importance of concrete. A concrete message is specific, detailed, and backed by facts, figures, and real world examples. It leaves no room for ambiguity or interpretation because the details are clear and measurable. When your communication is concrete, it's much easier for your audience to understand exactly what you meant and to take action on. Let's consider an example here. Instead of saying that our sales increased a lot by last quarter, this message is really vague. There is no concrete details in it. Instead of that, consider saying our sales increased by 25% last quarter due to the new marketing campaign. You see how this version is? It provides specific numbers and a clear reason for the growth, making the message more credible and easier to grasp. By grounding your communication in concrete details, you build trust, clarity, and ensuring that your audience are on the same page. Next, let's talk about the correct communication. Correctness is all about ensuring that your communication is free from errors. Whether grammatical, spelling, or factual, accuracy is key here because even a small mistake can lead to misunderstanding and reduce your credibility. For example, the sentence which is mentioned here, "Automated regression test suite should be prepared and is a continuous activity for maintenance," could be clear and grammatically correct, right? It should be written like this. An automated regression test suite should be prepared and its maintenance is a continuous activity. Notice how the second version is more polished and clear. When you communicate correctly, your audience not only understands your message clearly, but they are also more likely to trust the information you're going to provide them. And next up is the coherent communication. What's coherence? It means that your message should be logical, consistent, and flow smoothly from one point to the other. It ensures that your audience can follow along without getting lost or confused. A coherent message connects all the dots, allowing each point to build upon the previous one. Let's consider this webinar itself. If the topics jump around without a logical flow, such as starting with the introduction, then jumping straight forward to deep diving, then followed by an overview, then followed by a question and answer, it would confuse the audience a lot. Instead, a coherent structure would actually follow a clear sequence, like introduction, then overview, then deep dive, real world example, followed by the question and answers. A well organized, coherent message helps your audience stay engaged and makes it easier for them to absorb and retain all the information. Next comes the complete communication. What does it mean? Complete communication is all about providing the necessary information your audience needs to understand and act on your message. It leaves no room for follow up questions or uncertainty by including the essential elements, the what, when, and how. For example, instead of saying, send me the test report, you know, it's very vague, it lacks detail and could lead to confusion. A complete request should be something like, please create the test report and submit it to me by Friday using the template attached. You see how clear this message is, how complete it is. It states what it's needed, what the deadline is, and how to accomplish the task. When your communication is complete, it not only enhances clarity, but also empowers your audience to take action without needing additional clarifications. Finally, courteous. Let's discuss about the courteous communication. Courtesy is all about being polite, respectful, and considerate in your interactions. Regardless of the situation, this is particularly important when addressing conflicts or delivering criticism, as a courteous approach helps maintain positive relationships and foster open dialogues. Let's consider an example. You have a teammate and you are talking to him in a really rude manner. You're always late with your reports, which can come as an accusation or might put the recipient in a defensive mode. A more courteous way to address the issue, can be, I have noticed the reports have been delayed recently, and I would like to discuss how we can ensure timely submissions going forward. How this approach is, it's respectful, it's collaborative, it's focusing on finding a solution rather than placing someone in the center spot and blaming them, right? Being courteous in your communication not only makes the conversation more productive, but also promotes a positive atmosphere, encouraging others to communicate openly and effectively. And now let's dive into a real world application of the 7C's through our real time case study. It's about the communication breakdown in a HR recruitment process. In this scenario, we're actually looking at a fintech company that's gearing up to launch a new product in just 6 months. To meet the tight deadline, they urgently need to hire 15 experienced Java developers within the next 3 months. The project delivery team reaches out to the HR department to kick off the recruitment process. However, the scenario highlights how a breakdown in communication can have a significant repercussions on project timelines and resource allocation. As we discuss this case study, let's pay attention on how the principles of the 7C's, clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous, are applied over throughout the communication process. This will help us understand the impact of effective communication in real world situations. Okay, so let me introduce about the actors in this case study. The actor one is Tom. He's a project manager from the project delivery team. Actor two, Sarah. She's a HR lead. And actor three, John. John is a HR coordinator. And actor four, Maya. Maya is the technical HR interviewer. And let me maximize this a bit for the step one. Okay, I hope this is visible enough. Okay. Um, okay, so in the step one, it's an initial request for resources. Tom sends an email to HR team. He's saying that, hey team, we need 15 Java developers for a new project. The deadline is tight, 3 months max. Please begin recruitment as soon as possible. So what did Tom miss here? Tom missed the essential details. He missed the years of experience. He didn't specify the level of developers required. Is it a junior? Is it a pro, senior, full stack? He didn't mention anything. He didn't even mention the specific technical details, specific technical skills that needed. That could be Spring Boot, microservices, whatsoever. And his request is too general with no clear job description, no expectations about developer expertise. Without this, like HR cannot effectively start the recruitment process. And now, Sarah. So, Sarah is really excited about the recruitment and she didn't ask any questions. And in step two, where Sarah is passing information to the recruitment team here. What's happening here? Sarah is holding a meeting with her team and shares the information. She's very excited. So she's telling her team they have got a new requirement from the project team. They need 15 Java developers in next 3 months. Let's start recruiting the candidates. Let's start the search. What did Sarah miss here? Sarah again missed concreteness. Sarah actually missed the opportunity to ask the detailed job specification and she passed incomplete information and unclear instructions to her team. Without concrete information such as experience level, skill set, role, expectations, her team will really struggle to target the right candidates. She missed clarity. The vagueness of her instruction left the team confused about whether to look for a junior, mid, senior developer. There's no clear distinction on the experience level or key requirements of the role. Now comes the HR coordinator, which is John. John starts reviewing resumes and he's focusing on candidates with basic Java experience. So, this is the phase of screening and shortlisting candidates. He assumes any professional level Java developer will fit into the need because there's no specific guidance or seniority in the specialized skills. What did John miss here? John John's selection criteria was incomplete due to the lack of proper job description. He didn't verify candidates' qualifications against the actual project requirements, which weren't actually communicated to him clearly. The pool of candidates being considered is not well aligned with the project's needs, leading to unsuitable candidates being shortlisted for interviews. So the correctness is being missed here. And then comes Maya, who is the technical HR interviewer. Now Maya is conducting interviews. Maya begins interviewing the shortlisted candidates and she is assuming the role is for a full stack Java developer based on past project experience. This leads her to reject qualified backend Java developers because they lack front-end development experience. Even though the project don't require the full stack experience, but still the potential candidates are being rejected. What are the C's missed in this step? Maya wasn't given a clear, specific set of technical requirements for the interviews. As a result, she made assumptions, which actually led to the rejection of candidates who may have been a perfect fit for the actual requirement. The incorrect assumption about the job role caused a misalignment in the selection process, with many capable candidates being eliminated for consideration. What a pity. And now comes the step five, where there is a follow up after 2 months. What's happening here? So, after 2 months, Tom reaches out to Sarah for an update. Tom says, what's going on? We need 15 developers, but only one has been hired so far. Why is the hiring process moving so slowly? And what is Sarah's response? She is so surprised by Tom's frustration. And she responds that, Tom, we have been working hard on this, but we didn't receive job descriptions or specifications from your team. We have been sourcing Java developers, but without knowing the exact experience or required skill set, we have difficulties finding the right candidates. Additionally, we didn't have regular feedback to ensure we are on right track or not. What are the C's missed by Sarah? Sarah's failure to regularly communicate and clarify with Tom created a breakdown in the process. A coherent, structured communication process with regular updates would have prevented this issue from escalations. Concise and clear communication could have helped Sarah quickly clarify the missing requirements, enabling her team to course correct early in the process, but it was not done. And what did Tom miss? Tom, there was no structured flow actually, and there are no check-ins during the requirement process. There's no regular communication. If there is regular communication, it could have helped identify the issues way earlier. Tom never provided a complete job description. It actually hindered HR's ability to find the right candidates. See, it's completely messed up because of all the C's being missed. And now, what are the key learning points after this case study? We'll discuss with each of the learning point here. And firstly, let's talk about the completeness. In this scenario, we saw how Tom's initial request to the HR department lacked important details, such as required experience levels, specific skills for the Java developers. This omission actually led to poor candidate screening, which ultimately delayed the recruitment process. Similarly, Sarah's instructions to the recruitment team were incomplete, resulting them in searching for candidates with only basic qualifications. This highlights the critical importance of providing complete information in communication. When requests and instructions are lacking essential details, it can lead to misunderstandings, wasted time, resources. Ensuring that your communication is complete helps set clear expectations and guides your audience effectively towards the desired outcome. And now about the next C, which was missed during the HR recruitment process. In the case study, we saw both Sarah and John fail to clarify on request specific technical requirements from Tom when initiating the recruitment process. This lack of concreteness actually led to a misalignment understanding, what's really needed for the role. It caused the recruitment team to search for candidates who really didn't meet the actual requirements. Additionally, this ambiguity also affected Maya, the technical HR interviewer, because she made incorrect assumptions about the role requirements due to vague information being provided. All this highlights how crucial it is to communicate with concrete details. When your communication includes specific and actionable information, it reduces the chances of misunderstandings and ensures that everyone is aligned and working towards the same goal. Clear and precise details helps prevent costly errors and streamline the entire process. And now let's focus on the key learning point of clarity. In our case study, we observed that the project manager and the HR lead, they both failed to provide clear and specific job descriptions for the Java developer roles. This lack of clarity created confusion for the recruitment team. And what happened? Ultimately, it hindered their ability to find the suitable candidates. A well-defined job description outlining specific technical needs and expectation, it would have really helped streamline the recruitment process. When clarity is lacking, it can lead to misinterpretations and inefficient efforts. This all causes delays and frustrations for everyone involved. This serves as a reminder for the importance of clear communication. It ensures that all relevant details are conveyed in a straightforward manner. We can help our teams operate more effectively and achieve our objectives without unnecessary complications. Now let's delve into the key learning point of correctness. In our case study, we identified a critical issue where the interview process was derailed due to the technical HR's assumptions that a full stack developer was needed for the role. This incorrect assumption arose from the lack of clear and accurate information about the specific requirements for the position. As a result of misunderstanding, several qualified candidates were mistakenly rejected, which not only wasted valuable time and resources, but also hindered the company's ability to meet the hiring needs. This situation highlights the importance of correctness in our communication, ensuring that the information we share is accurate and clearly understood is essential in preventing costly errors. By committing to correctness, we can avoid assumptions that lead to misalignment and ensure that our recruitment process are effective and efficient. Next, let's explore the key learning point of coherence, which is must in the case study. It became very evident that a more coherent communication plan was desperately needed. The absence of regular status updates and a structured communication flow between the project team and the HR department contributed to last minute surprises and confusion. Without a coherent approach to communication, important information and updates were not consistently shared. This actually led to misalignment on the recruitment process and expectations. This not only created unnecessary stress, but it also hindered the team's ability to work effectively towards their goals. By actually implementing a coherent communication, it includes regular updates and a clear flow of information. We can actually ensure that everyone involved is on the same page. This would actually help prevent misunderstanding and ensure a smoother, more efficient process overall. And finally, let's discuss about the conciseness, which is must in the case study. We recognize that short, timely updates between the project team and the HR team would have significantly improved the recruitment process. By providing concise communication, that teams could have quickly identified when the wrong candidates were being filtered out and made unnecessary course corrections without delay. Concise communication minimizes unnecessary details while focusing on the essential information needed to drive actions forward. It allows team to stay aligned and respond promptly to any issues that arise, ultimately leading to more efficient workflow. Incorporating concise updates not only enhances productivity but also fosters a culture of open communication. It enables teams to navigate challenges more effectively. And as we conclude our exploration of 7 C's of effective communication, I hope you have gained valuable insights into how each of these principles can actually enhance your communication skills in both personal as well as professional contexts. We have seen how clarity, conciseness, concreteness, correctness, completeness, coherence, and courtesy can significantly impact our interactions and help us convey our messages more effectively. And now I would like to open the floor for any questions, whether you have queries about the 7 C's, you want to discuss any specific scenarios, or if you want to seek further clarification or any of the points we have covered today. I'm here to help. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the chat box. I see some of our participants are actually typing some questions. We'll take a minute for them to type it. Okay, I see there's a first question. So, in my daily work, I often have to translate complex technological topics to my non technological colleagues. Do you have any tips on how I can make sure they understand me well? Okay, so if I understand correctly, you are specifying that the non technical background people have to understand your questions, which are more technical. Uh, uh, um, Okay, so maybe I'll just take this question first. We have few more questions. So whenever you're actually communicating complex information, you have to apply being concrete and correct principles. You have to focus on actually simplifying the data using maybe relatable examples, use some analogies, use some visuals. Just avoid all these technical jargons unless it's really necessary. Just ensure your information is correct and understandable. It will help your audience grasp the key points and they can engage more effectively. So your key takeaway, avoid the technical synonyms or jargons unless it's really necessary. Just let explain them in more layman terms, give them relatable examples, and I think then they can understand the technical questions as well. Okay, I see there are a few more questions. Okay, so the next question is my peers are not giving me clear information. What should I do? This is a common issue actually. This actually highlights the need for clarity in communication. If they are not providing you clear information, why don't you initiate the conversation? You go and ask them what you need. Ask specific and direct questions and avoid vague responses. You can also summarize your inputs to them. Just make sure that what you interpret is actually what they are communicating to you. You can apply clear and complete principles of the 7C's, which will actually avoid misunderstandings and ensure that expectations are well communicated. Okay, so the next question. My team sometimes misses tasks because we aren't sure who is responsible for what. How can we how can we fix this? Okay, let me read it again. My team sometimes misses tasks because we aren't sure who is responsible for what. Okay, so in this scenario, I see there's an issue with completeness and clarity. You know, when there is some task that needs to be done, make sure you assign it to the person. Ensure that your communication includes all relevant details. Like it should have the person responsible for each task, it should have the deadlines. Maybe maintain some trackers and mark some of the tasks assigned to so and so person so that they know that they own this particular task. You can actually try summarizing goals and next steps at the end of your daily meetings or even in emails so that nothing is left ambiguous. And the next question, I often feel that my emails come across as too blunt and people get offended. How can I be more polite? Wow, this is where the courteous communication matters. You have to apply this courtesy principle. You have to craft your messages in more respectful and empathetic manner. You can start by acknowledging the recipient efforts or asking them how they are doing. Use some softness, like could you please, would it be possible for you? Always try to close your emails with a positive note. When you do this kind of small changes to your communication, it makes it both effective as well as considerate. Okay, I think there are few more questions. Okay, so I see one more question. I find that in some meetings, the participants are going off topic. How do I keep conversations more focused as a moderator? Wow. Okay, this occurs to many of us. Whenever we organize meetings, there are a lot of people who actually go off topic. So this is where the concise and coherent principles come into picture. Keep your messages brief and relevant to the main topic. Before the meeting, you have to always set clear objectives and stick to an agenda. If someone is actually going off topic, politely decline them and so that you can if they are drifting the topic and if it is off topic, you can actually use some phrases like that's an interesting point, but let's focus on the main topic for now. Or you can say that I hear you, let's take it offline. Or you can say I hear you, I'll set up a follow-up meeting for this topic. Just use some polite words. That's all should do. Okay, maybe in the interest of time, we'll stop the question and answer session now. And I hope everyone had really insightful um, webinar today. And I look forward to hear from you on how you have applied these 7C's in your daily communication. And now we are ending this webinar. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a nice rest of the day, everyone.
Billennium. IT for people. People for IT.